Oh yeah, MVP wise, and let's talk about that a little bit later, 'cause I really want to get your MVP take. But we're coming up on the end of the season. This is our last weekend of basketball, and the play-in starts. What do you think about that play-in tournament? I know there's a lot of people. There's a lot of people on the fence. I've heard arguments on both sides, and I can honestly see both ends of it. But what do you think what's your feeling on the play-in tournament? You like it? You don't like it? Which side of the fence are you on?
Yeah, I need to hear those people that are on the other side of the fence, because I'm not hearing fans or media people against it at all. It's just players. I'm only hearing players that are against it, and I understand from the players' perspective. But at the same time, this is amazing stuff from a fan and the media. It's just a meaningful basketball to talk about, where the first round isn't that meaningful normally. So this is to start it off, and I mean, should bring up ratings quite a bit. One life or death playing game. I mean, we live for that stuff. Game 7's as good as it gets, but it also gives these guys a little extra time to rest, and I mean, not jumping right into the playoffs from a really strenuous, tight, jammed-packed season all year. So, yeah, I've been really jacked up for it all year, and it's really playing out to be a great couple of games here. And, I mean, if 71 and 72 are meaningful days, like, that's all we can ask for. I mean, that's ideal. So, I just don't know any negatives outside of players fighting to make the playoffs and going from 7 to maybe not in the playoffs. So,
yeah, no, I'm with you on that, and I feel like it de-incentivizes the tank because it gives those two extra spots. Now, I don't see this being a long-term thing. I don't see them continuing this after this year. I feel like it's more of this season. Well, because of course this year is a reduced season. 72 games is shorter. You don't get the opportunity to get those last 10 games to get yourself in the playoffs. It's really just this year and this year only. So I'm figuring that this probably won't continue just because once you get to 82 games, they don't want to add an 83rd and an 84th game, and that to me the players are going to balk to. And then, of course, when the next TV deal comes out, there's an opportunity to make a ton of money and honestly reduce the schedule and make it even more meaningful. I want us to get to a 60 to 65 game season where every game feels like they matter, where we don't have 15 to 20 games that's just kind of like, meh. You know what I mean? So I don't know if them continuing it, but there's a possibility. I can totally see Adam Silver saying, you know what? This was great for ratings. Fans love it. Let's keep doing it. Players, you're going to make extra money from it in some capacity. No, so we have to see if they can argue that point.
I'd be shocked if it's not just a giant success and ratings aren't great these next couple days. I just don't see how it's not, but it'll be interesting to see those numbers come out. But if they are great, I could see them trying to drop the schedule back to 72 again next year, and just with the players' personalities and all the bitching and moaning that goes on. I mean, I understand this year. This year I was mad that when they started the season and thought it should have been pushed off even more, and just how close it was to last year and just how many back-to-backs they had when they've been doing such a good job the past few years of eliminating a lot of those back-to-backs. So this year was just a mess, and the injuries especially. So I'm with you. I want 60 to 70 games, even though I'm a historian, I like to say, and I've always been for the 82 games. This has been my first year I'm against it, really. And it's mainly because of COVID, but, I mean, we could get back there if, I don't know how. I mean, it's going to be interesting just because this season's going to go longer than the past few seasons anyways. So it being this cycle's already started, it's just going to keep pushing back unless we make it a norm. The season goes longer and we start later, which a lot of people want with football and baseball, and which wouldn't be a terrible thing either. It's just messing up the summer league and the draft and those sort of things, intertwining with college basketball. But I really want to see this continue. I mean, it's been a fun season. A big part of it has been these playing games, and the Wizards, I mean, have been a blast the last few weeks of the year, and those type of teams, like, I want to see those guys grind out. Like, I want Russ and Beal to be out there and having a chance to play some meaningful basketball, and they're going to be a tough out coming up. I just hope Beal is playing. So, we'll see what happens, but it should be fun.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. And you made a good point that the start of the season, and this has kind of been my feeling on the year, like, I've enjoyed it, but I'm kind of mad on this season, and the only reason is it feels like it hasn't stopped since July of last year. Like, it doesn't feel like there's a gap. We typically get maybe a month of, like, free agency, and it's just kind of like it's really more calm than anything. But this year, it went from July all the way to October. By the end of October, we were prepping for the draft, early November, then the draft, and then beginning of December, we had free agency. Yeah. Then it went straight into the season. It doesn't feel like there was ever a moment where we could sit back and be like, oh, the season's over. I'm kind of curious of what it's going to look like next year. We were already looking at next year as soon as the finals hit. And I think that kind of throws off some of the groove. But you're right. The shorter season feels it feels more urgent. Like, I like the fact that the NBA took time and cut the schedules in half just in case because of COVID. Gives you an opportunity to backload games if you need to based upon rescheduling. It made it a little bit easier. But the issue, as you mentioned, is those back-to-backs, those 5 and 8s, those 6 and 10 games, to where the human body has limits, and we're starting to see where players are falling apart with all those injuries. So what do you think about these key players going down the way this is? I'm guessing, like me, you're attributing it to the fact that the season ain't stopped since July.
Yeah, this has been the most meaningful injuries throughout the entire year that I can ever recall, and I'm like 99% sure it hasn't been the most injuries volume-wise, but the quality of injuries and the top-tier players, like, that's been where we're seeing it, and it makes sense because those are the guys that were playing late into last year and longer time stretches and more tread on the tires, that's for sure. So I know the NBA and the other people are going to be coming back saying, the high-end players is probably fluky and have their own backs, I guess you can say, and based on the numbers of sheer volume haven't been as high. But, if you do the math, I mean, it's these top-end players, and that's what matters. That's the only thing that really matters, unfortunately.
That's what we're here for. We're here for the good. We're here for the top guys.
Yeah, no, it's a team sport, yes, but the NBA is really a couple players that, I mean, run the show. I mean, we've seen over the past few years if LeBron's not playing, these ratings go down quite a bit, but I think it's with as talented as the league is becoming, I think that's going to change, and it has to change soon. There's so many exciting players in this league. It's incredibly deep, so I don't know why more people aren't watching it.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. And,
should be growing with the league.
Right. Luckily for them, the ratings this year are up compared to last. But yeah, overall, they've seen a decline over the last few years. The good thing for them is it ain't going to hurt their money because they're still going to get those big breads. But